Before the college entrance exam, the rich heiress was dumped in brutal fashion by the campus heartthrob. I gnawed on a steamed bun and leaned toward her, who clearly had no heart left for studying. I kind of look like the heartthrob. How about I chase after you instead? She was silent for a moment, then took out the couple's bracelet originally meant for him, and put it on my wrist. I shamelessly took it as a paid gig, demanding $1 million from her every month. She said nothing and wired me $2 million. After we got married, we had sex 4 times a week, punctual, precise, thoroughly attentive service. Everyone said Miss Lin had finally found true love, until that day. The assistant quietly told me, that new special assistant around President Lin, rumor has it he was the campus heartthrob back in the day. Sir, it seems President Lin really likes him. She even gave him your favorite lounge. Chapter 1. I'm into Charlotte Lin purely for the money. She's a hopeless romantic who's willing to spend on her boyfriend. When I was starving and gnawing on plain buns, the thing I envied most was the campus heartthrob who, before even graduating, was already wearing a $2 million watch. I couldn't understand why he dumped rich Charlotte to go fly off into the sunset with some poor girl. So when he slapped Charlotte and stormed off, I stopped him at the classroom door. You guys really broke up. He gave a scornful glance at my threadbare school uniform and brushed my hand away in disgust. Yeah, we're done. Then can I go after her? He looked me up and down, taking in my shabby clothes, and burst out laughing. Sure, go for it. If you actually manage to get her, I'll give you this watch. I stared at the $2 million watch Charlotte had given him, and nodded. But at the post-exam class reunion, when he saw Charlotte holding onto my arm, his smile froze instantly. When she went to the restroom, he dedicated a song to me. When the lyrics played, calling someone a cheating bastard, the whole room went silent. Everyone stared at me. Leo, you're such a piece of trash. Louis sneered as he looked at me. I knew exactly what Charlotte saw in me, and I still opened a bottle of liquor and poured it over Louis's head. Then I casually took his watch. You made a bet. Sore loser shouldn't have gotten engaged to someone else. Leo. Louis roared and lunged at me, but Charlotte threw herself in front of me and took the slap. She pulled me out of the bar without saying a word the whole night. I thought, in the end, her heart still ached, but I knew exactly where I stood. I silently followed Louis's Instagram. Every time he posted a new outfit, I bought the same one, and wore it the next time Charlotte and I had sex. Every time she saw me in Louis's style, the emotion in her eyes became unreadable. I knew she secretly still followed him, too. When she looked at me, it was like she was seeing her old lover. My buddies were furious on my behalf. After all, I was her husband, but I actually didn't mind. I asked her for $1 million a month. She sent 2. So I asked for 3. She sent 5. Even if there's no love in this kind of life, so what? I was born into a loveless, penniless family. As long as there's a chance to make money, I'll throw pride to the wind and go after it. As long as Charlotte was still interested in me, I had to play my role well. On our 1-year anniversary, Louis posted a new photo on Instagram. He had tattooed a skull on his neck. I bit down hard enough to crush my teeth, enduring 10 hours of pain to get the same tattoo in the same spot. When Charlotte came out of the shower and saw the skull peeking out from under my purple shirt, she paused midway through drying her hair. What's wrong? Don't like it? Don't do that again. She wasn't into the skull. And throw out all your purple clothes. My heart sank. Purple was Louis's favorite color. Did that mean she didn't like me imitating her crush anymore? Was my stand-in job coming to an end? I mean, it must have hurt, she said. She flicked my forehead. Even if you don't copy him, I'll still give you lots of money. The next day, the housekeeper took away all my purple clothes. I never liked purple anyway. She filled my closet with black. I touched the fine fabric. So, Charlotte knew I liked black. But if I stopped copying Louis, what would happen to my role as her stand-in? So, I tested her. Asked for $8 million. She handed me a black card with no limit, custom designed for spouses. At a car expo with my friend, he asked curiously, didn't you say you'd cash out and bounce after 5 years? It's been almost 5. When are you divorcing her? I stared at the baby clothes in the shop window and fell into deep thought. Chapter 2. I had been Charlotte's stand-in for 5 years, so I had no idea what it meant to actually love someone. All I remembered was, before my mom left with another man, the one time she made me happiest was when she fashioned a rabbit for me out of foxtail grass. So I tried to crochet a rabbit using yarn. My hands were pricked and bloodied by the tools. I ruined several ugly attempts before finally getting it right. But Charlotte didn't seem to need it anymore, because today was supposed to be one of our regular intimacy nights, and she was already half an hour late. I waited on the sofa until I fell asleep. Eventually, I was woken by a kiss. Sorry, she murmured, sitting on my lap and wrapping her arms around my neck, kissing me fervently. The partner suddenly added new clauses. I came back a bit late. For the first time, I pushed her away. When are you planning to divorce me? She froze mid-breath. What are you talking about? I looked at her calmly. I know he's back. You even gave him my favorite private lounge. The special assistant already told me. I checked. It's no longer under my access. Her body tensed. Charlotte, don't worry. I won't cling to you. I won't ask for much in severance either. Just give me. But she had already picked up her phone. Her tone sharper than I had ever heard it. Special assistant. What special assistant? What about the lounge? People get reassigned under me now without my consent. On the other end, the HR director's voice trembled. President Lin, he showed us old photos of you two when you were dating. He said Mr. Leo stole his woman. And, well, Mr. Leo does look a lot like Mr. Luis. And those pictures, they really were of you. So we thought you approved. Charlotte's face turned ice cold. Blacklist Luis from every industry connection we have. Within an hour. I want the lounge access restored to my husband. Also, go pick up your final paycheck. HR tried to explain more, but she had already hung up. I looked at her, stunned. She turned and wrapped her arms tightly around me, kissing me with a desperate intensity. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I wasn't at headquarters these past days. That, I believed. She was always traveling for work, domestic and international, but no matter how far she went, she never once missed our 4 times a week schedule. Still, I wasn't completely reassured. I held her waist tightly. You blacklisted your crush. Aren't you afraid he'll be heartbroken? What crush? She kissed me until I was breathless. I only have you. Is this your way of showing your true feelings? Yes. Then, Charlotte. I leaned in and kissed her softly. What am I to you? She paused, then answered with even more fervor. My husband, the man I love the most. My body trembled. Then I'll really start acting like it from now on. You should have from the beginning. That night, I gripped her waist, and didn't sleep a single second. Chapter 3. My handmade crafting skills had improved. The old one I unraveled was remade into a bigger, cuter rabbit. But then my buddy sent me a video. In the footage, Charlotte had just wrapped up a business meeting at her villa in City A. She walked past Luis, holding a black umbrella. Since being blacklisted, he had nowhere to go. He couldn't even afford rent. His entire body was soaked, his purple shirt clinging to him and outlining his attractive figure. He stood in the rain, teary-eyed, gazing at her. Charlotte. Luis's voice trembled. Charlotte paused for half a second, then kept walking, without even glancing back. Charlotte, have you forgotten what we had? Even as he called out to her, she never looked back. I let out a sigh of relief. Seemed like she knew where her loyalty lay, but I never expected Luis to be so stubborn. The rain poured all night, and he stood downstairs the entire time, until he collapsed. That's when I saw a black umbrella appear in view. Luis opened his eyes with effort. Looking up, Charlotte stood there, completely dry, her pale face expressionless, but the umbrella tilted slightly toward Luis. The next day, Charlotte flew back to the capital as planned. Only, the villa. She gave it to Luis. Leo, what now? Charlotte's the type who only spends money on her men. Remember, my friend said. I thought for a moment, if she sees me as her husband, then I'll just have to act like her husband. That very day, Luis was kicked out of the villa. And that night, Charlotte didn't come home. Since we got married, it was the first time she'd ever missed our designated intimacy day. I called her over a dozen times. She didn't answer. The next day, she came home, exhausted. Her eyes were bloodshot. Did you have Luis thrown out? I didn't avoid the question. Yes. Who gave you the right to be so unreasonable? Her accusatory tone caught me off guard. I looked up. Are you saying, as your husband, I should tolerate your ex-boyfriend living in one of our properties? Charlotte said nothing. She just frowned and threw me a video. In it, Luis was being dragged into an alley by a dozen men. His fingers were broken one by one, his mouth full of blood. Charlotte's voice quivered. If I hadn't gotten there in time, Luis would have jumped into the river by now. I stared coldly at the screen. What do you want me to do? Go to the hospital. Apologize to Luis. Charlotte. I pushed the phone back toward her. I'm not apologizing to your side piece. Side piece. Charlotte clearly hadn't expected me to say that. A smirk curled on her lips, one I'd never seen before. If anyone's the side piece, it's you, isn't it? My breath caught. She didn't care about my shock. She turned and left. For the first time, she slammed the door behind her. I sat alone on the sofa until late at night. My phone buzzed nonstop with messages from friends. Leo, what's going on? Charlotte's skipping all her work just to stay with another man in the hospital. They say he's her first love. That can't be real, right? Leo, get to the hospital fast. Your wife's about to be someone else's. I didn't reply to any of them. Instead, I packed my things and waited for Charlotte to come home. 3 days later, when she saw my suitcase, she let out a light laugh. What's this? Running away from home? I handed her the divorce papers. Let's end this. I won't ask for any severance. Her hand froze mid-sip of tea. Chapter 4. She flipped through the pages of the agreement with a serious expression. Her hand trembled slightly. Divorce? Where do you think you're getting all that money from? Thank you, President Lin. I won't starve. She paused. Divorce is fine, but the money I spent on you, you'll pay it all back. I froze. After 5 years of being a stand-in, I had spent a lot of the money I earned. Seeing me go stiff, Charlotte's smile relaxed a little. If you can't pay it back, that's fine, as long as we don't divorce. All right. She was stunned. I've always had major financial anxiety. No matter how much money I had on hand, I couldn't bring myself to spend lavishly, even with 9 figures in my account. When Charlotte wasn't around, it was always instant noodles with 2 eggs. 5 years, I earned several hundred million, but only spent 2 million. I handed her my bank card and felt around on myself, then took off the $2 million watch I was wearing. It just happened to cover the amount I'd spent. This watch, I won it from a bet with Luis. It's mine. Take it, it makes a square. I grabbed Charlotte's hand and placed the watch in her palm. As I turned to leave, she threw the watch aside and grabbed my hand. Don't go. I didn't actually want you to pay me back. President Lin, usually sharp-tongued and eloquent, was speechless for once. Charlotte, don't hold me back. I was impatient, but the moment I turned and saw her, I fell silent. A teardrop landed on the back of my hand. I asked in disbelief. You cried. I'm sorry. She looked at me with red eyes. Don't treat me like this. I had never seen a woman like her cry. If the paparazzi caught this, Lin Group stock would probably fluctuate. So I sat down and listened to her explanation. That's when I found out she hadn't even been at the hospital the past few days. She had her friend send me those infuriating messages because she believed the people who humiliated Luis were arranged by me. She couldn't accept me doing something like that. She could tolerate me kicking someone out, but not utterly destroying them. Not having a group of men humiliate another man like that. Still, she had sent Luis to the hospital and visited him often, because she didn't want me to be sued, saying you were the homewrecker. I only said that out of anger. I'm sorry. Charlotte's eyes were still red. I paused for a moment. Charlotte, you really hurt me this time. A flash of pain crossed her eyes. But I can give you a chance. Her eyes lit up. Charlotte, I want you to cut ties with Luis completely. Send him away. Far, far away. Okay. She gripped my hand like she was holding onto something precious she'd almost lost. I promise you. Chapter 5. Charlotte kept her word. The next day, Luis was sent overseas. His ex-girlfriend was backpacking through that country. Charlotte seemed haunted by how she had hurt me. Her close aide secretly told me, at this weekend's press conference, President Lin was going to publicly announce her other half. Charlotte and I had a secret marriage. As her stand-in, I'd never thought this arrangement was unreasonable. But now, I was genuinely looking forward to the announcement. All week during our married life days, she was even more insatiable than before. Afterward, she would cling to me in bed and whisper, "There's a press conference this weekend. You're coming with me." I smiled and played dumb. Sure. I arrived at the venue on time that weekend. Charlotte's assistant pulled me to the main seat. There, the spotlight hit me just right. The room was full of reporters, cameras clicking and recording. Everyone wanted to know, who was the mysterious husband President Lin had been hiding all these years? A bouquet of roses was handed to me by the assistant. They were my favorite, Bulgarian red roses. Still dewy, clearly flown in. In the midst of the anticipation, Charlotte arrived, fashionably late. From the stage, her gaze landed on me, a hint of a flirtatious smile playing on her lips. She looked at me, brought the mic closer, and said, "My other half is the boy I fell in love with at first sight back in high school." Love at first sight? I froze. The curtain was pulled open. The roses in my hand were taken and handed to another man. He's my first love, Luis. Chapter 6. I stared in shock at the man slowly approaching in a purple tracksuit, looking lazy and smug. The spotlight wasn't on me. It was shining on that purple Saint Laurent suit. The man who was supposed to be abroad wore a trace of a victorious smile. Charlotte. My buddy slammed the table and stood up. What's the meaning of this? Your husband is right here. He shoved me out to the front of the stage. Charlotte's gaze slid right past me. Her smile turned cold. Do I really have to expose what you've done in front of the media for you to give up? What do you mean? My voice trembled as I looked at her. Luis's eyes turned red in an instant. A flicker of pain passed through Charlotte's eyes. The next second, the big screen lit up with footage of Luis in Northern Europe, disheveled, beaten and even humiliated by a group of white men. Leo. Charlotte lowered her eyes and looked at me. I already did what you asked. I sent him away. Why do you have to destroy him completely? Chapter 7. The venue instantly erupted. Someone actually arranged for President Lin's men to be assaulted. That's insane. Wait, didn't that guy just say he's President Lin's husband? But didn't she just announce the guy in purple? An entertainment reporter smelled something big. Something's off. If the guy in black is Lin's husband, Then the one she announced is the homewrecker. Exactly. And didn't Lynn herself say she sent someone away at that guy's request? Why would she listen to him if he's not her husband? Charlotte cut through the noise. Everyone. I'd like to clarify, Mr. Luis is not the homewrecker. Her gaze fell on me. Mr. Leo is. As soon as she finished, the big screen began showing photo after photo. Intimate memories from their time together as a couple. At the amusement park, Charlotte was making a peace sign to the camera while Luis quietly stole a bite of her ice cream. On the roller coaster, a screaming Charlotte had her eyes covered by a grinning Luis. In the classroom, just as Charlotte peeked at Luis, he clicked the shutter on the camera. Scene after scene of youthful innocence pulled people back into their own high school memories. Some reporters covered their mouths, getting emotional. Oh my God, this is so sweet, it reminds me of my first love. No matter how much time passes, first love is always unforgettable. You can see it, President Lynn's eyes are full of love. If it was that perfect, why did they ever break up? Luis took the microphone. Before the college entrance exams, Charlotte and I had a small fight. Mr. Leo took the opportunity to confess to her. We were both being stubborn, and when I finally decided to make up with her, I saw him kiss her. He choked up, then composed himself and continued. I thought Charlotte didn't love me anymore. That's why I stepped back. You're full of it. My buddy Daniel exploded with rage. You broke up with Charlotte because you wanted to run away with that poor girl. Leo asked if you two were over. He even asked if he could pursue Charlotte, and you said yes. Then when you found out that your poor ex not only had no money but even wanted a bride price, you remembered the perks of dating a rich woman. You knew Charlotte was married, but still had the nerve to manipulate HR to make yourself her assistant. If we're talking about homewreckers, you're the one. Charlotte's expression stiffened for a moment, but she quickly recovered. The entire press room was confused. Reporters looked at each other, unsure what to believe. If what that Daniel guy said is true, then it's not really cheating, right? A young couple fights, says stuff in the heat of the moment, and Leo actually took it seriously. If that's not inserting himself into their relationship, what is? But Luis himself said Leo could go after her. If a couple gets to that point, maybe they should break up. In the end, Luis said it himself. You can't blame anyone else. Luis hadn't expected things to escalate like this. He tugged at Charlotte's sleeve awkwardly. Charlotte, we didn't actually break up back then, right? Charlotte seemed lost in thought. Then she looked at me with a complicated expression. I clenched my fists. President Lynn, at the time, what we had was mutual, wasn't it? She frowned slightly, then slowly took the microphone. Yes, Luis and I never officially broke up. It was all just a misunderstanding from years ago. If we hadn't met again after all this time, I might have lived in the dark forever. The entertainment reporters immediately pounced on the truth. So basically, Leo took advantage of their fight and kissed Charlotte Lynn, which made Luis give up and move on. Then Charlotte saw Luis with someone else and settled for Leo. Neither Luis nor Charlotte denied it. The cameras turned on me instantly. A shocking scandal, 5 years of being the other man. Thank goodness President Lynn and Mr. Luis cleared up their misunderstanding, or they might have missed out forever. Even his name, Leo, sounds just as careless as he is. You all don't know what you're talking about. Daniel was furious and wanted to argue, but I held him back. I looked at Charlotte. So, you really want to divorce me? She paused, then nodded. Of course. The room erupted in applause. Congrats to President Lynn and Mr. Luis for getting back together. After all the twists and turns, they were meant to be. Charlotte didn't respond. She just kept looking at me. I didn't know what kind of reaction she was waiting for. I simply nodded. All right. She looked stunned for a second. I grabbed Daniel and turned away, pushing through the reporters and cameras without looking back. When the divorce agreement was delivered to me, the aide who brought it along gave me a mocking look. Daniel couldn't hold it in. What are you looking at? We'll sign it right now and send it back. Leo won't sign. The aide laughed. Who's going to give him that kind of money after leaving President Lynn? This divorce agreement says Leo leaves with nothing. He won't dare. Who says he won't? Daniel stomped his foot in anger. I quickly pulled him back and looked at the aide. I'll take the agreement. Let me think it over. The aide gestured politely. As you wish. As Daniel and I turned to leave, I heard him make a phone call. Yes, President Lynn. Just as you thought, he's hesitating. Looks like bringing up divorce earlier was just a strategic retreat to gain the upper hand. On the other end, I clearly heard Charlotte let out a cold chuckle. But what she didn't know is that I really am going to sign it. Chapter 8. Back at the home that now belonged to just me, Daniel was stomping around in anger. Who does she think she is? First, she calls you her husband. Now she pulls this, gets you to fall for her and then kicks you aside like trash. Do all these spoiled rich girls like playing this cruel? Who said I fell for her? Daniel curled his lip. If you didn't, why'd you come back? You're just here to clean up the evidence that you did fall for her. My hands, which were busy packing handmade crafts, paused. Then I pretended like nothing had happened and stuffed the woven rabbit into a storage pouch. I did not. Then I packed up my year-long love diary, photos of me and Charlotte, and the handmade ring I had crafted for her. I didn't want her to think I still loved her when I left. I signed the divorce papers, placed them on her desk with the black card, and used that $2 million watch to press them down. Then I dragged my suitcase and walked out of that house. Chapter 9. After I left, I found a quiet place and used the interest from those hundreds of millions I'd earned over the years to open a small flower shop. I didn't really keep up with Charlotte's news, but she and Luis were just too high profile to ignore lately. She took him to investment summits. He'd clearly never been in such circles before, but she personally led him around, introducing him to all the big names. That Ocean View restaurant she used to only go to with me, that private VIP window seat that had been ours, was now theirs. On Valentine's Day, Charlotte lit up 214 sky lanterns for Luis, each with a pearl worth $10,000, totaling to $14 million. The photos went viral instantly. Even though I had blocked both their names, I still saw them everywhere. So I turned off my phone entirely and focused on running my flower shop. Daniel squatted beside me, chin in hand. It's fine, man. That kind of thing never lasts. I smiled and sprayed him with the water hose. I don't give a damn how long they last. The flower shop quickly filled with our laughter. At the same time, Charlotte kept staring down at her phone. I hadn't sent her a message in a long time. During the years I was her stand-in, I texted her good morning and good night every single day, whether she replied or not. I sent a string of kissy face emojis anyway. After she started calling me husband, I messaged her even more often, but this was the first time I'd gone a whole week without sending a single word. I'm heading back. They had originally planned to stay out with each other until midnight on February 15th. But not even 10 o'clock had struck when she made an excuse to part ways with Luis. It was the first time all week that she came back to the marital home we once shared. She thought she'd find me sulking inside, but when she opened the door, the first thing she saw was the divorce agreement, pressed down on the desk with the watch. She flipped to the last page. Every spot requiring my signature had been signed. She would never mistake my handwriting. I had really signed it. Her assistant beside her was dumbfounded. Charlotte grabbed her by the shoulders. Didn't you say he was a strategic retreat to gain the upper hand? That he was just trying to get me to change my mind? Then why did he leave the card and the watch? I don't understand either. The assistant stared blankly at the black card I had left on the desk. Mr. Leo shouldn't have been able to let go. Find him. Charlotte's voice was hoarse. Search the capital and all surrounding cities. Sweep them. A city. 2. Check flights. Trains. I want to know where he went. Yes, ma'am, but... President Lin. The assistant couldn't help herself. Do you want the divorce or not? Charlotte froze. Chapter 10. I was in the back garden tending the soil when someone suddenly appeared behind me. Daniel, can you bring me the hose? After a moment of silence with no movement, I turned my head in confusion, only to be slammed against the wall. You'd rather be here planting flowers than be with me. What are you doing here? Isn't today Valentine's Day? I left the divorce papers for you. You actually signed them. Her breathing was shaky. I never wanted you to leave me. If I had known you'd really sign, I never would have used that to tease you. Tease me? I was stunned. She gripped the front of my shirt tightly. I was just throwing a tantrum. After all, what you did to Luis was way over the line. I get it. You were jealous, but your methods were disgusting. That time, I just wanted to give you a wake-up call. I never meant for us to actually divorce. I stared at her in disbelief. Why would you ever think that threatening divorce is a reasonable way to wake someone up? Because I thought you wouldn't really leave. Her eyes turned red. I always knew. You only saw me as your sugar mama. When you acted out, I figured you were just playing games to squeeze more money out of me. But that time, you went too far. So when you pulled the divorce card again, I just let you talk. I didn't bother to coax you. I suddenly laughed. A sharp slap came out of nowhere. Charlotte was hit across the face by Daniel, who had just returned from a supply run. You're the one who's playing games. You and Luis both are. If Leo was really playing games, why the hell would he leave you the black card? If he saw you as just a cash machine, he would have gone straight to court to split the marital assets 50-50. Charlotte froze. She looked at me in shock. Like she had only just realized that detail. Husband, is that true? There was a flicker of hope in her eyes, but I just smiled. How about this? Give me 2/3 of your fortune, and I'll go back with you. The light in her eyes faded. She lowered her head and let out a soft laugh. Knew it. You're still the same as always. Whether you come back or not, do whatever you want. With that, she turned and walked away. Chapter 11. In Charlotte's prediction, I was bound to come back in the end. After all, I was only in it for the money. Without her, who else would give me that much? But I left, with Daniel. She waited and waited, but I never returned. Finally, She couldn't help it and went back to the flower shop, but it was already abandoned. Amid the rubble, one particular storage pouch caught her eye. Inside was a soft, plush bunny, perfect for hugging in your sleep. A black-covered diary slipped out, old-fashioned, lock style with a combination. She hesitated, then typed in my birthday. Incorrect. Then, incredulous, she typed in her own. Click. It opened. She stared at the pages, unable to believe what she saw. 2017, 6/12. Met a super rich, love-brained woman today. Amazing. Leo. From now on, it's steak every day. 2019, 5/23. Daniel asked if pretending to be someone else bothered me. Bother me? Hell no. Used to not even have enough to eat. Now I get full-course meals. A little acting. Who cares? 2021, 4/3. Married. She actually married me. What if Luis comes back? Isn't she cutting off her own backup plan? No, I need to make money fast. If Luis returns, I won't get a dime. 2021, 6/11. Shit. I think I might be falling for my sugar mama, but maybe she loves me too. After all, I stopped mimicking Luis. So, what does it mean to love someone? Besides Daniel, I've never truly confided in anyone. Even my name, Mom gave it to me after seeing a tiger documentary right after I was born. But before she left with another man, she once made a bunny for me out of wild grass. Maybe, that's what love looks like. 2021, 7/22. My hands are full of cuts. Turns out loving someone is harder than I thought. 2022, 4/16. The woven bunny is finished. I even made a handmade ring, was planning to give it to her. But she played me. She never loved me. Charlotte, you lied to me. We're enemies now. The woven bunny was clenched tightly in Charlotte's hand. She couldn't believe what she was reading. At the very bottom of the pouch lay a silver ring, already darkened over time. The craftsmanship was crude, but full of care. Inside the band, her initials were engraved, right next to a little heart, and the initials, Leo, Leo. Her breath trembled. Where are you? President Lin, President Lin. Her assistant came running, out of breath, phone in hand. Mr. Leo, what about him? Charlotte stood up abruptly. We just confirmed, the thugs who attacked Mr. Luis in Northern Europe, were hired by Luis himself. Mr. Leo was innocent all along. The woven bunny crumpled even tighter in Charlotte's hand. Chapter 12. Following Charlotte for 5 years wasn't without reward. From her, I learned a great deal about business. With that knowledge, Daniel and I built our own small world in City A. It wasn't on the scale of Charlotte's empire, but we no longer had to worry about food or rent. If I liked something, I could just buy it. But just as things were finally going smoothly for me, a huge investment landed in my company. I had no choice but to meet the investor, only to see her, wearing a ring I knew all too well. The ring was crude in design and didn't match her couture outfit at all. I stared at the woman in front of me, stunned. Ms. Lin. The meeting room was empty, just the two of us. She looked at me, and suddenly her eyes filled with emotions I couldn't read. The next second, she pulled me into a fierce hug, her lips crashing onto mine with a desperate intensity. Like something she had held back for a long time was now breaking loose. I shoved her away forcefully, but she clung to me tightly. Her voice trembled. I was wrong. Come back. What are you talking about? She held up the ring for me to see. I love this ring. And Charlotte still loves Leo. My breath caught. Wasn't that the engraving I had carved inside the ring? Don't wear it. It's ugly. I didn't even want to look at it. But she just smiled. How could it be? It's beautiful. I love it. Ms. Lin. We're already divorced. She didn't respond. Instead, she pulled out a document, a property transfer agreement. My eyes widened. She nodded. You said before, if I gave you 2/3 of my fortune, you'd come back. Well now, I'm giving you everything. I thought I'd misheard. Are you insane? That's your life's work. You're throwing it all away. She looked at me calmly. How could it be wasted, if I found you? The pen in my hand froze. Then I threw it onto the table. Sorry, Ms. Lin. You can withdraw your investment now. Leo. She grabbed my hand anxiously. You wanted money, didn't you? I can give it to you. No need, Ms. Lin. My tone was steady. When it comes to you, I don't want anything anymore. Leo. There it was again. That familiar note of hurt in her voice. I turned, and sure enough, her eyes were red again. Don't be like this. Please, just take it. Don't treat me this way. Once upon a time, I might have been tempted by a fortune that big, but now that I could earn a decent living on my own, I no longer envied Charlotte. I no longer wanted to trade my emotions for money. Sorry, Ms. Lin. I slowly pried her hand off mine. Then I called out, Danny, show her out. Daniel, who'd never liked Charlotte to begin with, didn't hesitate. He brought in the full security team to separate her from me. Behind me, her voice sounded unusually desolate. My steps only paused for a second. Then I walked out in my leather shoes without looking back. Chapter 13. Luis still refused to give up. Even though his self-staged assault scandal had been completely exposed, and he was now penniless, he still believed that first love had lethal power. Once again, on a rainy night, he put on that signature purple shirt and stood outside Charlotte's building. Charlotte came out again, holding a black umbrella, but this time, he didn't expect her to not tilt the umbrella toward him. Instead, she sneered coldly, and ordered her people to tie him to a tree, right there in the storm. Didn't you want to play the poor victim? Charlotte curved her lips. Let me help you out. No, Charlotte, I was wrong. Let me go. I'll leave right now. But Charlotte didn't listen. She turned and walked back into the house, without a word more. That night, Luis was struck by lightning. His body convulsed in pain as his eyes closed forever, and Charlotte never walked out of that house again. When people finally found her, she was curled up in a chair, holding a warm, soft, woven bunny. Beside her was an empty bottle of sleeping pills. She had left behind a will. She gave her entire estate to me. When I received the inheritance confirmation, I stood there stunned, staring at her lying peacefully in the coffin. My heart skipped a beat. Tears fell hard onto the coffin lid. I clenched my teeth. Charlotte, even in death, you still had to make it this hard for me. Chapter 1. I woke up in a cliched melodrama where I was a rich CEO, arriving at the moment when the Cinderella cleaning heroine was about to enter the elevator. Opening my eyes, I saw the heroine clutching her chest, sharply scolding, "Sir, please delete the photos you secretly took of me." A classic misunderstanding in the original drama, the prologue to Love. Suddenly, colorful bullet comments exploded on the screen. I bet 50 cents. In 3 seconds this man will pull at his tie and say, "Woman, you're asking for death." Move the camera to the left. I want to see the iconic scene where he wall slams her with a 180-degree turn. Hee. I'm waiting to see the cleaning girl turn into the CEO's wife. The Civil Affairs Bureau is ready. I'm going to send 10 rockets as gifts. The CEO is about to fall for this defiant woman in the next second. I glanced at the comments and my gaze fell on her trembling hand and cheap ID badge. Sneering out loud, fall for her. This woman with no professionalism, spouting nonsense, and being so noisy. I, the CEO. Why on earth would I fall for a naive, clueless woman? Am I crazy? In the heroine's stunned gaze, I directly pressed the call button. Human Resources, the cleaning staff, Sophia, on the 18th floor, has made baseless accusations that a client secretly took photos and disturbed public order. Write a serious reprimand. Performance zeroed for the month. If this happens again, she's fired. The bullet comments froze instantly. Performance zeroed. Wait, what? Is this how the plot is playing out? Am I watching a paid video? I thought this was supposed to be a sweet romance. Is this what I get? They re-causing a scene now, but later they'll regret it. The CEO will beg for her forgiveness. Wong, you're asking for trouble. I paid no attention to the comments as I exited the elevator in Sophia's dumbfounded gaze. The bullet comments were still wildly scrolling. Wait till you get slapped in the face, CEO. The more ruthless you are now, the more miserable you'll be later. I'm waiting for Sophia's revenge. If you don't listen to the bullet comments' advice, trouble is just around the corner. CEO, you're going to regret this. I scoffed. Regret? Me begging for her forgiveness? Go back to the original story. In the original story, I indeed fell for this loud, boundaryless, and unprofessional cleaning girl. Then what happened? Misunderstandings piled up. She thought I was cold and heartless. I thought she was ungrateful. We tortured each other. And then came the classic plot. I realized I loved her. I started chasing my wife. Flowers, cars, houses. I gave up my billions and my dignity as CEO. I waited for her under her apartment building in the rain. She slapped me, yelling, "Go away." And then I shamelessly went after her. In the end, after a kidnapping by the evil second female lead, I came to my senses, and she was moved to tears. A perfect ending. I held Cinderella, feeling like I had the whole world. Bullshit. George, the head of Wong Group, smart, ruthless, standing on the shoulders of giants, tripling the family business. I handle billions daily. My decisions affect the livelihoods of thousands of employees. How much is my time worth per second? Where should I focus my energy? To play a stupid game of you run, I chase with a cleaning lady who doesn't even understand basic workplace rules and dares to falsely accuse the CEO of taking secret photos. Or should I focus on market expansion, acquisitions, and driving technological innovation? Is the answer even up for debate? A humble love game. That's something a brain-dead CEO puppet in a poorly written script would do. The CEO stomps on his dignity, turns his career into a joke, just to win back a woman who, aside from being kind and stubborn, is completely useless. That kind and stubborn trait in reality is just called stupidity and obsession. Beat her simp. Let her make a comeback to create a plot twist. With her 3,000 monthly salary cleaning skills, or her true nature of just covering her chest and screaming when faced with a problem. Don't even think about it. Chapter 2. I arrived at the office, and my phone rang. I glanced at the screen, my mom's exclusive ringtone. As soon as I answered, the bullet comments went wild again. Iconic scene alert. CEO Wang is about to use the heroine as a shield. The Civil Affairs Bureau is waiting for you. I bet 10 carnival gift packages. I leaned back and put it on speakerphone. My mom's voice came through strong and clear. George, next month you'll marry into the Liu family. Willow Liu is a good girl, and you're not allowed to refuse. I thought about the original plot, where the female antagonist, Willow, deeply loved the male lead, but he didn't like her and used Sophia as a shield. After being pressured into marriage, he dragged Sophia to the Civil Affairs Bureau and they got their marriage license. Then they lived together but in separate rooms, gradually developing feelings. Meanwhile, the female antagonist, consumed by love and hate, turned into a black lotus and began sabotaging their relationship. The bullet comments were even more excited now. Willow, the evil female antagonist, is here. Classic stand-in literature ready. Haha, the CEO is going to slam the phone down and yell, "I'm in love with someone else. I won't marry Willow." But to the surprise of the bullet comments, I calmly replied, "Listen to your mother. Where's Willow? If it's convenient, we can get the marriage license today." There was a 3-second silence on the other end of the line. My mom seemed unable to believe it. Although I had grown up with Willow and we were childhood friends, I had never been interested in the arrogant, delicate girl. She probably wondered why I had suddenly changed my mind. But only I knew that the current Willow had not yet turned into the Black Lotus. She was rich, beautiful, and her family business was even stronger than mine. Most importantly, she had eyes only for me. Why would I settle for a cleaning lady with a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan when I could have such a perfect wife? Am I crazy, or is everyone else crazy? And at that moment, the bullet comments were losing their minds. What happened to running away from marriage? Where's the Civil Affairs Bureau? Where's the cleaning girl? Did they mix up the script? I paid for VIP just to see this. My mom trembled, saying, "You can't refuse." "What? You agreed?" "Yep, of course I agreed. A strong partnership sounds great," I replied. I twirled my pen and asked, "Is Willow downstairs? Should we go to the Civil Affairs Bureau now?" My mom laughed and said, "Then let's get engaged tonight. I'll send out the notice." The bullet comments completely lost it. What happened to fighting against the family for love? The original story is fake, right? Refund. This plot isn't even worth watching by a dog. Chapter 3. After hanging up the phone, I started handling company documents. Bang. The door was slammed open, hitting the wall. Sophia rushed in. Her eyes were a bit red, her chest heaving, and she marched straight toward my large desk. "CEO Wang, why did you deduct my performance?" Her voice was shaky with tears, but she tried to hold it together. "Even if you're the CEO, you can't be unreasonable." The bullet comments exploded with energy, coming back to life. Here it comes. Here it comes. The iconic scene, though late, is here and won't be missed. Ah, the cleaning girl is facing off with the CEO. So brave. CEO, look up. Look at her stubborn little face. Yes, yes, this is the vibe. Get up. Rip off your tie. Wall slam incoming. I've worn out the screen recording button. This pitiful look. CEO, how are you not moved yet? Should we move the Civil Affairs Bureau to your doorstep? Hee hee. I leaned back in my office chair, not moving. I didn't even raise my eyelids, my fingers lightly tapping on the smooth surface of the desk. The office was filled only with her heavy breathing and the soft tapping of my fingers, along with the colorful and rapidly scrolling bullet comments. The bullet comments were going wild now. It's happening. The CEO is about to explode. Classic line incoming. 3-second countdown. 3, 2, 1. Put a mic in the CEO's mouth. Quick. Have him say, "Woman, you're playing with fire." Or, "You've caught my attention. Come on, say it." Finally, I lifted my eyes. My gaze was like an ice pick, cutting through the chaotic bullet comments and fixing on her face. No anger, no interest, just pure, cold scrutiny, like I was looking at a malfunctioning part. "Who allowed you to come in?" Sophia froze for a moment. The words she had prepared for confrontation stuck in her throat. She probably expected me to fly into a rage, or maybe, as the comments expected, for me to fall for her. She didn't expect this question. "I came to ask about the performance. Entering without an appointment is against the rules." I interrupted her, speaking slowly, every word clear. "Did the front desk notify me? Did the secretary approve? Is your name in the appointment system?" The bullet comments instantly froze. "What? What appointment? CEO, wake up. Is this really the time for appointments? I isn't this supposed to be a sweet drama? Do you two have a grudge? Refund. I'm done watching this. Sophia from the cleaning department. I don't care who you are. I interrupted her again, my voice colder. Who allowed you to barge into the CEO's office? Did you even read the employee manual? What happened to basic etiquette? Who taught you to storm into other people's offices like this? Sophia was completely stunned. She opened her mouth, her eyes full of confusion and a hint of panic. The intense confrontation she expected never happened. Her lips moved as if she wanted to say something, but no words came out. The bullet comments were going crazy. Etiquette, CEO. You're teaching Cinderella etiquette. Ah, the script is mixed up. Where's the wall slam? Where's the heart-throbbing moment? I assent the focus on the misunderstanding here. Guys, I'm dying. The CEO's focus is so unique, but why do I kind of like it? I agree. This cleaning girl has no manners. I looked at her embarrassment with no change in my expression. In fact, I almost wanted to laugh. What were the bullet comments expecting? Some melodramatic romantic twist? Were they expecting me to have feelings for this woman with no professional conduct? No appointment. Barging into the CEO's office. I picked up the internal phone, my voice unchanged. Security department, 18th floor. Sophia, please escort her out. Also, this is a violation. If it happens again, according to company policy, she'll be fired. Sophia's face instantly went pale. She probably finally realized that in my eyes, she was just an employee who made a mistake, a problem that needed to be handled according to the rules. It had nothing to do with love, feelings, or anything like that. Two tall security guards quickly appeared at the door. Miss Sophia, please. The guards' voices were polite but firm. Sophia looked at the guards, then at my cold expression, and finally couldn't hold back anymore. Tears streamed down her face. She stomped her foot and shouted through her tears, "George, you bastard." Then she covered her face and ran out. The bullet comments exploded in chaos. Calling security, marking a violation. She's crying. Wah. The heroine is crying. CEO, you have no heart. Wasn't this supposed to be a sweet romance? I've taken off my pants and this is what you show me. Refund. I'm done with this crappy plot. Ha ha ha. What the hell is this violation? CEO, you're single because you deserve it. Don't laugh upstairs. This is fuel for the future plot. The harsher you are now, the worse the consequences will be later. Yes, CEO. All this drama you're causing now will lead to even more tears later. I listened to the hysterical bullet comments predicting the future, only feeling irritated. Regain her trust. For her. Who gave them the illusion? A cleaning lady who doesn't even understand basic workplace rules, who only reacts impulsively and cries at every opportunity. What makes her worth my time to chase? Because of her ability to cause trouble. Deductions in performance. Dealing with violations according to the rules, that's just basic management. Love, heartthrobs, chasing after a woman. A waste of life. My time is precious. Every second should be spent wisely. Who would want to play this childish make-believe game with them? Chapter 4. After Sophia stormed out, the office finally quieted down. The bullet comments were still flooding the screen, full of warnings about how I would regret it and protests demanding a refund. I ignored them completely. They were just noise. I picked up my phone and habitually opened the company's internal monitoring system, not to watch Sophia, but purely out of safety habit. My finger swiped across the screen, bringing up the surveillance feed outside the cleaning department's break room. In the footage, Sophia was leaning against the wall. She wasn't crying. She had her head down, fingers tapping furiously on her phone screen. Her expression not one of hurt, but of confusion and frustration. The bullet comments suddenly grew quieter, likely because the viewers realized her state was off. I zoomed in on the screen, turning up the volume. The audio from the surveillance was clear. Sophia's muttering came through loud and clear. Something's not right. How come he's not following the script at all? She furrowed her brow and spoke to herself as she stared at her phone. He wasn't moved in the elevator. Okay, fine. But this classic office confrontation scene, he's talking to me about rules, marking a violation. She anxiously raked her hair with both hands. This George, does he really not like me? That can't be right. In the original, he should be interested by now. The bullet comments immediately froze, as if the pause button had been hit. A few seconds later, an explosion of reactions flooded the screen. Wait, what? Did she just say that? I can't believe it. What? This is a script. Did she just say original and follow the script? Information overload. My brain's burning up. The heroine knows the plot. She knows she's the heroine. Suddenly, I don't find the heroine cute anymore. Wow, the CEO's been kept in the dark all this time. Don't rush. The CEO is watching the surveillance. Ha ha ha. This is intense. A big script revision in progress. Oh no, the CEO heard it all. He must be confused. Confused? You're underestimating the CEO. Look at his expression. I was indeed sitting in front of the surveillance screen, my face expressionless, my inner thoughts calm. So this is it. No wonder her behavior was so irrational, accusing the CEO of secretly taking photos, storming into the office without any sense of propriety. It wasn't stupidity. It was because she knew the script was supposed to unfold this way. She thought I would fall for her. That I would indulge her. That I would start this so-called love story. Absurd. Sophia kept muttering, her voice tinged with anxiety. I heard he's supposed to be getting engaged to Willow tonight. The original didn't have this happen so quickly. Could it be that I didn't follow the plot? And now the butterfly effect is kicking in. She nervously bit her nails, her eyes flickering as she seemed to be thinking fast. No way. I can't let him get engaged. If he really marries Willow, what happens to me as the heroine? What about his billions of assets? Do I just let it go? She suddenly straightened up, her eyes filled with a determination to do whatever it took. I've got to find a way. Go to the engagement party, create some misunderstandings, or sabotage it, and bring the plot back on track. She clenched her fists, psyching herself up. Yes, that's it. This is the key turning point. I've got to win George back. Otherwise, my Cinderella comeback will be ruined. The bullet comments went completely crazy. Ha 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 ha. She's going to sabotage it. Kidnapping the groom. For the plot? What the hell is bring the plot back on track? Heroine. Get a grip. Big script revision in progress. I'm laughing so hard. CEO's reaction. I'm just quietly watching your performance. Oh no. The CEO heard everything. He's definitely pissed. Pissed. Look at the corner of his mouth. It's twitching. Sharp eyes upstairs. The CEO's smirking. He's definitely smirking. This is getting good. The CEO will be on guard tonight. Heroine's in trouble. In trouble. The CEO knows she's just a plot tool now. He won't go easy on her. Reclaim the heroine. Beg for forgiveness. Not happening. This is the counterattack moment. I can't wait to see tonight's drama unfold. It's going to be so satisfying. I watched Sophia, full of determination. On the surveillance screen, she was still there, planning how to create misunderstandings, how to win George back, all for her ridiculous heroine plot. I turned off the surveillance feed. The office fell silent again. The bullet comments were still in full swing, predicting a spectacular showdown at the engagement party later. I leaned back in my chair, my fingers lightly tapping the armrest. Misunderstandings. Creating trouble. Winning him back. For the plot? Heh, she thought she was the one rewriting fate as the heroine. Too bad. In my world, George's world, the script? I call the shots. No one else is going to write my story. Chapter 5. In the afternoon, there was a polite knock on the office door. 3 soft taps. Come in. The door opened. Willow stood at the entrance, looking exquisitely dressed. She wore a gentle, perfect smile on her face, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me with unabashed joy. George. Her voice was soft, with a hint of careful excitement. I hope I'm not disturbing you. The bullet comments immediately lit up. Oh ho, the female antagonist has arrived. Willow is here, the CEO's fiancée. Tisk, those eyes absolutely sparkling. Rivals face to face. Wait, the heroine isn't here. Waiting for the showdown. Although it hasn't started yet, she's so beautiful, much more pleasant to look at than that cleaning girl. Yes, this is a match made in heaven. Please sit. I put the documents down and poured her a glass of warm water. I didn't need to be cold to her. Willow walked in and gently closed the door behind her. She didn't rush in like Sophia had. She didn't sit either, standing a few steps away from my desk, her hands clasped in front of her in a poised manner. But her gaze toward me was more focused than ever before, filled with a kind of relief as if she had regained something lost. George. She called my name again, her voice trembling slightly. I just wanted to come and see you, and it feels so good to see you again. I was stunned by her words. Countless bullet comments flashed across the screen. That opening line. This feels off. Willow took a deep breath, looking at me, her eyes filled with guilt, fear, and a sense of clarity that came with surviving a disaster. George, I've behaved terribly. I had a dream, and in it, I couldn't get your love. Out of jealousy and frustration, I did many foolish things. I became someone I didn't recognize, someone vile and unworthy. The bullet comments exploded. I'm stunned. Why is the plot different again? Wait, what? This is a dream. Isn't this from the original plot? Does Willow know the plot too? Information overload. My brain's going to fry. How many people are actually reincarnated here? What about the CEO? Screenwriter. Come here and get beaten. This plot is already exploded. Willow didn't pay any attention to the crazy bullet comments, of course. She couldn't see them. Her eyes were only on me. And she continued, I acted like a madwoman, hurting you and others, and in the end, I destroyed myself. Her eyes reddened, her voice choked but firm as she said, now that I've woken up from that dream, I won't let love turn to hate anymore. I won't let jealousy cloud my judgment. She took a step forward, her eyes sincere as she said, I will cherish this opportunity, cherish you, and I will try my best to be worthy of you, to be a wife who truly understands and supports you. George, let me love you properly. The bullet comments went absolutely wild. Ah, it really is a rebirth. The female antagonist has been reborn. She knows the plot. She admits that in her past life, she became a vicious antagonist because of love and hate. What the hell? This twist, this plot, genius. So now she's going to redeem herself, become a virtuous wife. The heroine's like, am I a clown? Reincarnated versus native CEO. How's this going to play out? CEO, you better say something. I'm dying over here. The office fell silent. Only Willow's slightly quickened breaths and the tears shimmering in her eyes, along with those almost blindingly bright bullet comments, filled the air. I looked at Willow. That sincerity and determination in her eyes didn't seem fake. She had truly changed. From the spoiled, temperamental, and arrogant flower vase, she had turned into a woman who had experienced pain, understood self-reflection, and was determined to change. Interesting. A cleaning girl shouting about correcting the script, a marriage prospect openly admitting to having rebirthed and regretted. How many more scripts and past lives are there in this world that I don't know about? I looked into Willow's eager eyes, smiled, and said, don't be late for the engagement party tonight. Chapter 6. At 7 in the evening, the Wang family's old mansion banquet hall was brightly lit, and the place was buzzing with guests. All the important figures in the industry were present, their voices blending together, with glasses clinking and laughter filling the air. Willow and I stood at the head of the room, receiving sincere and polite blessings from all sides. She had her arm linked with mine, her smile composed, her eyes bright and steady. The bullet comments went wild. Wow, the engagement scene. Such a grand affair. Where's the heroine? Where is she? Hurry up and cause some trouble. I'm dying. Where is the cleaning girl? Why hasn't she shown up yet? Waiting for the iconic scene. Will the CEO protect his fiancée, or will this be a battlefield? I bet the heroine will show up soon. The head of security quietly walked up to me, lowering his voice. CEO Wang. Sophia has sneaked in, wearing a server's outfit, wandering around the side hall. Do you want us to handle it? I swirled my glass, the ice cubes lightly clinking. No need, let her be. Let's watch her perform. The captain nodded and retreated. Willow turned her head to look at me, her eyes questioning. I slightly shook my head, signaling that it was fine. She didn't ask any more questions, just tightened her grip on my arm. The bullet comments caught it. What did the security say? The CEO's expression is so subtle. Definitely something to do with the heroine. The CEO said, no need, he's doing it on purpose. This is going to be good. CEO, please start your performance. Not long after, there was indeed a small commotion in the side hall. Sophia's voice deliberately rose in pitch, laced with a cry and panic, carrying clearly across the room. Oh my God, isn't this CEO Wang? Who is this young lady beside him? CEO Wang even sent me those photos. She held a phone with the screen lit up, seemingly wanting to show it but afraid to pull it back in. A few guests nearby were drawn to her, their faces filled with suspicion. The bullet comments exploded. Here it comes. Here it comes. Classic framing. The photo meme plot might be late, but it's here. Ha ha ha. The cleaning girl is starting her performance. Quick, point the camera that way. What's going on? Someone asked in a low voice. Sophia's eyes were red, her voice not too loud, but just enough for those around to hear. I'm an employee of Wang Group. CEO Wang secretly took photos of me in the elevator and threatened me. He said he liked me. She stopped herself, glancing at me and Willow, her eyes both innocent and accusatory. Whispers in the crowd grew louder. Eyes began darting back and forth between me, Willow, and Sophia. Suspicion, curiosity, watching for drama. The bullet comments went crazy. Yes, yes, this is the vibe. CEO, explain yourself, protect your fiancé. Fight, fight. Willow's smile faded. She let go of my arm. I thought she was about to question me, or feel embarrassed. She didn't. She walked straight towards Sophia. Her steps were steady, and her aura was fully unleashed. The bullet comments grew tense. The female antagonist is advancing. The legitimate wife is about to make her move. Sophia saw Willow approaching, and a glimmer of smugness flashed in her eyes, as though she thought her plan had succeeded. She raised her phone, her voice even more pitiful. Miss Liu, look, here's the proof. CEO Wang. Willow didn't even glance at the phone screen. She stopped right in front of Sophia, only a few inches between them. Her gaze was sharp like a knife, and her voice was cold and clear, cutting through the surrounding noise. Sophia. The entire room immediately quieted down. Willow stared at Sophia, her voice cold and deliberate. Cut the act. It's cheap and vile. Sophia's face froze in disbelief. What did you say? Willow sneered, her voice loud enough for those nearby to hear. What photos? Edited? Or just something you found online? Do you think this kind of low-level framing can fool anyone? She took a step forward, completely overpowering Sophia. What happened in the elevator today? Do you really think no one knows? You falsely accused the CEO of secretly taking photos, disturbing the peace, got reprimanded and had your performance docked. And now you're here at my engagement party spreading lies to take revenge on CEO Wang and disgust me. Sophia's face turned pale, her lips trembling. You're slandering me. I have proof. Proof? Willow scoffed, her eyes filled with mocking insight. Your so-called proof only shows your malicious intent. What else does it prove? That George, with his suitable and well-matched fiancée, prefers to harass a cleaning girl with no professionalism, full of delusions, who only uses underhanded tactics. Her words were like whips, striking Sophia and leaving her staggering. The bullet comments went crazy. Holy crap, Willow's so fierce. Queen speech. She's so badass. She tore the mask off. No mercy. The cleaning girl's face is green. Ha ha ha. Sophia was completely panicked, not expecting that Willow would not only not believe her but also expose her background. She screamed, "You're lying. You're jealous. George is my perfect match." Shut up, Willow interrupted sharply, her eyes icy cold. You think you can just say George's name? He's my fiancé, the CEO of Wang Group. What are you, an employee on the verge of being fired, and you think you have the right to slander him here? She lifted her chin, exuding absolute disdain. Security, escort this troublemaker, who's deliberately slandering and disrupting the peace, out of here. Two tall security guards immediately stepped forward. Sophia completely broke down. She screamed, desperate and hysterical. This isn't right. It shouldn't be like this. I'm the heroine. I'm the heroine. George should love me. You're all side characters. You don't understand. The plot isn't supposed to go like this. She struggled like a madwoman as the security guards dragged her out. Her screams gradually faded. The bullet comments fell silent for a few seconds before completely exploding. The heroine has gone crazy. Holy crap. A massive plot twist. Social death. She's completely finished. Look at the CEO's cold expression. So satisfying. This counterattack was epic. Everyone was saying the heroine would beg for forgiveness. Not anymore. At this rate, the male lead might scatter her ashes anytime. The banquet hall quickly returned to a calm surface. Willow walked back to my side, her smile fully restored, as if nothing had happened. She quietly asked me, "Did that scare you?" I looked into her bright eyes, filled with concern for me and a little pride in her success. I shook my head. Handled very cleanly. She smiled. The bullet comments were still flooding the screen. Willow nailed this. This fiancé is solid. She'll take action when it counts. CEO's lucky. Heroine script, torn up. Chapter 7. The engagement banquet ended, and the guests scattered. Willow and I sat in the car, and the driver started the engine. The bullet comments were still reminiscing about the drama that had just unfolded. Amazing. The cleaning girl is done for. Willow's aura is massive. I'm shipping this couple now. Female lead script, tear it up and feed it to the dogs. The car left the old house and merged onto the ring road. Streetlights quickly passed by the window. Willow leaned against my shoulder, eyes closed and very quiet. Suddenly, boom. A loud bang. The car shook violently, and the tires screeched against the road. The sudden brake made my head crash into the back of the front seat. The bullet comments exploded instantly. What the hell? Car accident. Kidnapping. It's definitely a kidnapping. Just like in the original plot. Can the female lead fight back? Does she have this ability? Willow is in danger. The car door was roughly yanked open, and cold wind rushed in. A few hands, wearing black gloves, reached inside, with great strength and clear intent, to grab Willow. I immediately moved to block, but my wrist was caught by a hand like a vice, twisted behind my back. Stay still. The hoarse voice reeked of alcohol. Willow was dragged out of the car. She didn't scream, staying calm, her eyes sharp as she scanned the situation. George, don't move, they have knives. She shouted at me. The bullet comments went wild. Willow is so calm. The CEO is being held down. It's over. It really is a kidnapping. Was it the female lead's doing? I was pinned tightly to my seat, watching as Willow was shoved into another unmarked van. The door slammed shut, and the van sped off, disappearing into the night. The bullet comments flooded the screen. Call the police. CEO. Chase them. I shook off the hand holding me down and rubbed my numbed wrist. Mr. Wang, what should we do? The driver's face was as pale as death. I ignored him and pulled out my phone, dialing the head of security. David, Willow's been kidnapped. A black unmarked van just got on the South Ring Road, heading toward the East Suburban abandoned chemical factory. Keep an eye on them. Wait for my orders. My voice was quick and steady. After hanging up, I dialed another number. Chief Luis. This is George. I need you to look up a few people. I'll send you the details. My voice was as calm as ever. The bullet comments were confused. Not calling the police. He seems to know who did it. East Suburban Chemical Factory. Isn't that the place where the villainess kidnaps the female lead in the original story? Did the CEO unlock some superpower? Does the CEO know the plot too? The car turned around, the engine roaring as we sped toward the eastern part of the city. The chemical factory area was desolate. A huge black silhouette crouching in the night. There was a lookout at the entrance. A man resembling a skinny monkey. When he saw my car, he panicked and ran inside. I got out of the car and walked in alone. The bullet comments started screaming. Going in alone. CEO. Don't be impulsive. Where's the bodyguard? The factory was empty, with broken lights hanging from the ceiling and dim lighting. Willow was tied to a chair in the middle. She looked at me, signaling that she was fine. Sophia stood beside her, holding a fruit knife. The blade shook violently. Her eyes were red, and her hair was a mess, looking like a gambler who had lost everything. George, you're finally here. Her voice was sharp, laced with a sob. You forced me to do this. The bullet comments flooded in. It's her. She's gone mad. Completely insane. The knife. She has a knife. It's so close to Willow's neck. I stopped, about 10 meters away from them. My gaze swept over Willow to confirm she wasn't injured before turning to Sophia. Let her go. My voice was as cold as ice. Let her go. Sophia laughed neurotically, waving the knife around as she spoke. And then what? Call the police to arrest me. Put me in jail. I won't. Suddenly, she pressed the tip of the knife against Willow's neck. Willow's body tensed up, but she remained silent. Why? Sophia screamed at me, tears and snot running down her face. George, tell me why. In the original story, you weren't like this. You were supposed to like me. You were supposed to go crazy for me. Why do you look at me like I'm garbage now? Why her? She pointed at Willow, and the tip of the knife pressed closer. The bullet comments went into a panic. It's over. It's over. Blood is about to be spilled. CEO, comfort her. Saving her is more important. Say something nice. Calm her down. I looked at Sophia's twisted face. She looked like a pathetic puppet, suffocated by the so-called script, and completely driven mad by the collapse of that script. Absurd. A waste of time. Just as I was about to speak, a light, cold laugh escaped Willow's lips. Sophia suddenly looked down. What are you laughing at? Willow slightly tilted her head, avoiding the blade just a little. A shallow cut appeared on her neck. She looked at Sophia with eyes full of contempt, like staring at a worm in a gutter. You even deserve to ask. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was as clear as a blade scraping against glass. Sophia froze. What? Willow stared directly into her eyes, speaking every word with icy precision. Ask why. You even deserve to have him answer. A fool who only knows how to throw tantrums and resort to lowly schemes like kidnapping. A waste who can't live without the female lead script. A pitiful creature who can't even recognize herself. Willow slightly raised her chin, and even with the knife against her neck, her aura completely crushed Sophia's. Do you really think you deserve to ask George, why don't you like me? What are you even worth? Sophia was completely frozen, her pupils dilated, her lips trembling. It was like her strength was drained by those words. Her face lost all color, leaving only ashen gray. No, she mumbled, the knife clattering to the ground. Suddenly, the roof of the factory exploded with blinding lights, and several strong beams of light precisely focused on Sophia. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed, and the security team rushed in. With David at the front, he immediately shoved the dazed Sophia to the ground. The ropes around Willow were quickly cut away. I walked over, and Willow instantly stood up, throwing herself into my arms. Her body trembled slightly, the calmness from earlier clearly a facade. It's okay now. I patted her back, glancing at the muddy figure of Sophia on the ground. She was roughly dragged up, her eyes hollow, repeating over and over, I'm the female lead. I'm the one. The bullet comments went silent for a few seconds, then erupted in a frenzy. Willow. Willow, Willow. She went insane. That last line was the kill shot. The cleaning girl's soul was shattered. What are you even worth? That's the line of the year. This is the true female lead. She can scatter Sophia's ashes. CEO Wang's cold face threw out. Inner monologue, my wife is so cool. The sound of sirens grew closer. I held Willow tightly as we walked out of the ruins. Behind us was Sophia's breakdown, mixed with the chaotic celebration of the bullet comments. Chapter 8. The red and blue lights of the siren flashed outside the car window, blinding and noisy. Sophia's hoarse cries were completely trapped behind the police car door. like watching a dying fish floundering through a thick glass. Is it over? Willow leaned against my shoulder, letting out a small hum, her voice a bit hoarse. The car started, leaving the chaos behind. The bullet comments were still flooding in. The cleaning girl's plot is over. Everyone rejoice. Queen Willow is amazing. This ending was so satisfying. I'm tipping 10 rockets. What about next? Civil Affairs Bureau. Why are you rushing? They'll definitely go home for some hugs and kisses first. I'm waiting for the paid content. Hee hee. The car drove smoothly. Willow closed her eyes, her breathing gradually calming down. The scratch on her neck was shallow, and it had already dried. I didn't say anything, my fingers tapping on my knee, like reviewing a high-risk merger deal. But this time, it seemed the cleanup work was done. The bullet comments quieted for a moment, then began to stir again. What's the CEO thinking? Reviewing his heroic moment. He must be thinking about how to comfort his fiancée. I'm dying of anxiety. Speak up, CEO. The car stopped downstairs at Willow's apartment building. We're here, the driver said softly. Willow opened her eyes, her gaze already clear again. The fierce energy she had used to tear apart Sophia at the chemical factory was gone. When she got out of the car, her steps were a little unsteady. I followed her out into the cool night wind. I'll walk you up, I said. She didn't refuse and nodded. The elevator was cramped. Just the two of us. The numbers ticked up one by one, and no one spoke. The bullet comments couldn't hold back. Elevator. Again. The elevator. The wheel of fate. This time, the CEO must be moved. Right. The atmosphere is perfect. Kiss already. I'm dying. I bet 5 cents. The CEO won't be able to resist once they reach the door. Willow leaned against the elevator wall, glancing at me quickly before turning her head back. The light from the elevator cast a quiet glow on her face. Ding! The elevator door opened, and we reached Willow's apartment. The hallway was covered in thick carpet, and it was completely silent underfoot. At her apartment door, she took out her key. The sound of metal clinking was sharp in the stillness. She turned the key. Click! The door opened. Willow didn't rush inside. She suddenly turned around, her back against the open door frame, facing me directly. It was very close. Her eyes, illuminated by the warm light in the hallway, were bright, like the harsh beams from the factory ceiling, but much softer. George. She called my name softly. She didn't say anything more but kept looking at me. There was so much in her gaze, the relief of surviving, and some unspoken resolve. She slightly lifted her heels and leaned in closer. Her movements weren't fast, but there was a hint of hesitation. The target was clear, my lips. The bullet comments went wild. Ah, they're kissing. They're kissing. The paid content is finally here. Cameraman, I'll give you an extra chicken leg for dinner. Get close-up shots of them. The wedding night is being reenacted in advance. Her breath brushed against me, warm. I didn't pull away. Her lips were soft, with a slight tremor, and when they touched mine, there was a sense of reckless courage and the slippery feeling of surviving through something, like a feather finally finding a place to rest. I didn't close my eyes. My gaze drifted over Willow's slightly trembling lashes and saw more than I expected. Those colorful bullet comments, twisted with excitement, floating in the air. They were swirling and exploding around us, like a silent frenzy. Wah! I finally saw the real plot. Perfect lip shape, perfect angle. CEO, close your eyes. Enjoy it. Quick, spin. Princess Carrie, carry her inside. Paid content. I want to see the paid content. I'll pay more. Just as Willow's tongue lightly brushed across my lower lip, testing the waters for a little more, I moved. It wasn't to respond to the kiss. My arm lifted, crossing over her head. It wasn't for an embrace. I grabbed the thick, fluffy winter wool blanket hanging behind her door. With a sharp tug, the massive wool blanket, like a heavy curtain, full of dust and a faint camphor scent, came crashing down with a whoosh, completely enveloping us. Instantly, the tight closeness of our bodies, our entwined breaths, and the kiss that had just begun were all completely and utterly covered by it. Everything went dark. All I could hear was the sound of fabric rubbing and our breaths, suddenly becoming loud and frantic. The bullet comments were like a chicken with its neck squeezed. What is this? Why did it black out? A blanket. The CEO's covering up with a blanket. What the hell? Where's the scene? Mosaic. Where's the paid content? CEO, you're doing this on purpose. Refund. I paid for VIP to see this mosaic. Camera, get in there and film them. In the darkness, the blanket blocked out the light, as well as the chaotic world outside, full of bullet comments. Willow's body stiffened for a moment. Then, I felt her begin to shake in my arms. It wasn't fear. It was uncontrollable laughter. A muffled laugh slowly seeped through the thick blanket, her warm breath brushing against my neck, tickling me. You. She managed to squeeze out a word, her voice mixed with laughter and a bit of panting. I pulled her closer, my palm pressing against her back through the thick wool, smothering that laugh even more. blocking the bullet comments, I said briefly. The wild, screaming colorful words outside, demanding paid content, were completely blocked by this barrier. In the darkness, she froze for a moment before staring at me. George, you too? I nodded. Her laughter grew louder, and she relaxed completely, softening against my chest. Childish, she muttered softly, still with a smile. I didn't argue. Outside the blanket, the bullet comments had completely gone berserk. Lift it. If you can change the script, you should be able to let us see. CEO Wong, I order you to lift the blanket immediately. I'm reporting this. This is fraud. False advertising. Cameraman, are you dead? Get in there and film. It's over. It's over. The CEOs learned how to guard against peeping. The paid content is gone. My mental food. Black screen protest. Black screen forever. Wait, does the black screen mean they're in there? What the hell? It's possible. Even more exciting. The imagination space is off the charts. CEO, you're so good at this. The more you cover, the more tempting it is. High level. Damn it. This man's charm. Blocking makes it even more tantalizing. George, I'm at odds with you. Give me back my one night of passion. It was warm under the blanket. Her hair brushed against my chin, tickling a little. The sound of breathing was clear, filled with the warmth left by the kiss. The world shrank into this small, dark space, with only the two of us. No bullet comments, no plot, no female lead or villainous. Only her and me, and this thick wool blanket, isolating everything. It was perfect. Outside the blanket, chaos reigned, with bullet comments cursing and screaming. But inside the blanket, there was peace. I held her for a while. Shall we go in? I asked softly. She responded with a smile in her voice, groping for my hand and guiding me backward toward the door. The door gently closed behind us. A soft click. It cut off the last bit of hallway light. It also completely shut out all the prying eyes and the crazy, scrolling bullet comments from the outside. The world became quiet. The screen went completely black. The last bullet comment floated by, alone, filled with overwhelming despair and anger. The end.